days?
It
or-
can be during the week as well, it's up to their schedule, but it's just a dinner, it's just a dinner, a casual dinner, just to get to know them, and you know, because, it's important for the it's a family decision, and so, that has to be, they have to take, I mean, they'll take that into consideration also. They just have to see exactly what, what their feelings are too, and you know, you've gotta click. You've gotta click as well as on every other level, you've gotta, see. And I see our speaker is
Yes.
on the screen.
Our speaker is here with us, right on time, in fact, 1 minute early, so, we get, brownie points for being on time here. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce, Dr. O'Mara. He is a professor in the Department of Leadership at Concordia University, Chicago, and is also the president of School Exec Connect. He has sent a presentation, and Dr. O'Mara, we have it in print form here. So we're going to be following along because of the various screens that had to be set up to keep you in front of our faces here. So I will let you take it away, and welcome.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and share our information and answer any questions you might have. I did like a 6 or 8 slide PowerPoint. Is that available to be shared with the board?
Say that one more time for me.
I know you have somebody here. I'm sorry about that. I had forwarded a small PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, we have it here that's printed out. It's not in digital form, but we have it printed.
I hear you.
Okay.
I got you. So you've got the proposal and you've got the presentation. So the second slide is kind of our introduction. We've been around for almost 20 years. We've got well over 600, now 25 successful searches in the United States, mostly Midwest. We now have 67 consultants that work for the firm, and hundreds of associates and consultants and contacts throughout the nation. Every single search we've been contracted for has been completed on time and within budget. And the next bullet point I think is rather important. It's unmatched in the industry. We have a 97% success rate. That's defined as the percentage of superintendents who receive a second contract offer from their boards of education. We're very good, we feel, at matching candidates with the community, with the students, with the staff, with the Board of Education. We have a lot of references. We sent some along in the proposal. Happy to send you however many more you need. A search plan is basically to open the search process with a planning meeting with the board. Right away, we start creating a candidate profile by doing a number of things, including focus groups as defined by the board. We would ask that the board allow us to do 2 open forums, one for anyone employed by the district, administrators, staff, teachers, and so forth. The other for community members, parents, and anyone else who would like to join in and share their information about what they're looking for in the next superintendent. Again, right away, we start developing a candidate pool. We get the word out through our consultancy, through our network. We have partnerships with AASA. We have partnerships with NAPSI, the North American Black School Educators Association. As a matter of fact, the president and superintendent of the year is one of our consultants, Dr. Deb Morton. We have a partnership with ALICE, the American Latin American Superintendents Association. There are 2 owners of this firm. My partner is Dr. David Negron. He is a first-generation Mexican American. We are the only minority-owned search firm in the United States. We develop that candidate pool and then select the slate of candidates by interviewing those that match up best with the profile. We interview all those candidates face-to-face and present a slate to the Board of Education. It's your decision to make. That's the search plan in broad terms. We advertise, if you look at slide number 4, locally and nationally. We engage your community. It's a hugely transparent process. We aggressively recruit and attract talent. I will will say that the university's superintendent search team and the Indiana school boards can't recruit within the state of Illinois. We do that. We do that within the state of the state of Indiana, and we also recruit nationwide. Just last year, around this time, I did a search in Rockwood, Missouri. They were looking for someone that had a high profile and was a minority candidate. I reached out to Dr. Curtis Kane, who was a superintendent elsewhere in the nation, and we placed him in Rockwood. He is the National Superintendent of the Year for the AASA. So we're good at recruiting talent. We screen and conduct interviews. We present a slate of candidates to the Board of Education. We facilitate training and interviews. In my research on your district is you've got 4 brand new board members, so congratulations, board members. And we train everyone on this process. We thoroughly screen candidates and support the hire throughout the process. In other words, we do mentoring once they get this position, and we provide guarantees of the search process. The next slide, slide 5, is our list of guarantees, which are unmatched in the industry. If we don't give you a slate that you like, we'll continue to bring candidates forward, no additional fee. If the candidate, superintendent resigns or dismissed for any reason within 24 months of the starting date of their contract, July 1st, we'll do the new search for no additional fee. We can do this because our success rate is so high. And our third guarantee is that we don't recruit your new superintendent for his or her first 2 contracts. The next slide, slide 6, is our consulting fee, our expenses, and our advertising, which are to be determined. We'll talk about those things if we're hired with the board at the planning meeting. There are some advertising that we feel has some value. There's others that we feel does not. We would strongly recommend you do a criminal and tort background check on the final candidate. That costs about $800, but I've known firms that have brought candidates forward only to find out later they didn't go to school. They said they went to school, or they've got a criminal action against them in another state or another jurisdiction. We don't want this to be something that is embarrassing to the board, to the community, to the candidate, and to us. Our proposed search timeline on slide number 7 would be that we will begin this right away and terminate with a placement with board action sometime in April. Now, things can go differently than this, and these are all board decisions. I will tell you this, that there's a nationwide teaching shortage. Ancillary to that, there's a nationwide superintendent shortage, and lots of searches are going on right now. I would strongly recommend that we start this process sooner rather than later, because there are searches going on across the nation right now for superintendents, and we just finished 5 or 6 last month here in the United States. So the candidate pool is small to begin with, and it's dwindling. So the sooner we can get this process started, the better. The last slide is my contact information. That is my cell phone number and my direct email address. I've had board members call and text me at midnight or at 5 in the morning. I answer those texts. I answer those calls. The reason I'm the one that I'm suggesting do this search is because I have a 100% success rate. I know this is important to you and your entire community, especially your students. You want to do a good job for your school corporation and for your community. I'm happy to take whatever questions you might have.
Kevin, this is Rick Berger. Thank you for first joining us tonight. Thank you. So I've got 2 or 3 questions here. One, okay, I see all your positive things. Give me one weakness that you have.
One weakness?
Yes.
That the firm has or I have. I can talk about a lot of my own personal weaknesses.
Yeah. But for your team, what's a weakness you might have?
Well, I feel that we have the ability to match up with the community, but the weakness I think that we have is that a lot of our networking is Midwest-based, and if I thought that we had a challenge out there, it would be recruiting from the East and West Coast. I will say this, I interviewed someone today from Maryland, another person yesterday from North Carolina, and a good friend of mine just took a job in Utah. So that that is spreading. We're better at recruiting in the Midwest than we are in other parts of the United States. But I would say that 90+% of your candidates that apply will be from the Midwest.
Okay. My second question is, you say you have around 60 consultants. What's their backgrounds? Give me a variety of what your team's made up of. Are they superintendents at one time, teachers? What's those 60 make up?
About 2/3 of our consultants are ex-retired superintendents, and about 1/3 of our consultants are active superintendents. We have the highest percentage of active superintendents of all the firms in the United States. We feel that balances out with the networking abilities. They go to conferences, they see or talk to somebody and say, hey, we thought about this opportunity. That's how I found Curtis King. So every single person in our firm doing these searches is either an active superintendent or a former superintendent.
Okay, thank you. And the last question I have for you, what's your workload like right now of schools our size?
So our workload is starting to pick up again. I will say this, that I just completed a search on January the 11th. I've been waiting for this opportunity, so I've got nothing else going on right now. You'd be my only client.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, Jackie, and tell me what you know about Vigo County.
Well, I know it's Terre Haute, Montana, and I'm probably saying that wrong. I apologize. It's about 3 hours and 20 minutes south of Chicago. I discovered and rediscovered through Amy's help that you're in a different time zone than we are in Chicago. And I screw that up all the time. I know it's got a strong history and tradition. I know that you've had some issues with some racial tensions at Vigo West High School. I think it's a very strong, well-supported, involved, community-embraced school community, and a lot of history, like I said, and tradition. And I feel it's a good opportunity for whoever comes to Vigo County. I've got more homework to do, don't get me wrong, but I feel like we can hit the ground running with attracting good candidates.
Thank you.
I've got a question for you related to the process that you have in place for getting community input. I think you mentioned 2 forums, one for like employees and another one for the community. I think many of us on the board are very interested in doing a little bit more than that, maybe doing some surveys, possibly just, inviting them to come and speak at regular board meetings or other opportunities like that. Is that something that would slow down the process? Is that something you can facilitate and support? Because it's very important to us that we hear from the community.
Absolutely. So our typical process is 3-pronged. One is to do 10 to 12 focus groups of 8 to 12 participants each. A focus group could be your high school junior seniors. A focus group would be with the board, of course. A focus group would be with the senior leadership team. Focus group would be with parents. Focus group would be with the teachers. A focus group would be with community members. A focus group could be with your elected officials. So 10 or 12 of those, we design those around whatever the board wants. These are board decisions. Then we would do 2 open forums, and we would facilitate those that can answer those questions in an open forum setting. The last is we would customize and design a survey that would be out there for about a month that would help us divine what the community at large is looking for in a superintendent. So it's really separate processes. If you want me to come to board meetings and listen to public comment on this process, I'm happy to do that. I will say sometimes community members, parents, students, teachers, whatever, are reluctant to share their thoughts in front of a board of education. So sometimes they are more free to share their thoughts if it's a conversation between me and them. If that makes sense.
Okay, so those focus groups would be conducted by you without us present. We might be a focus group ourselves, but not, not participating.
That's exactly
Okay,
correct.
I see.
What I look for is kind of aligned, experiences and personality traits and acclimation to the Vigo County, School Corporation and to the Terre Haute community at large, to define that profile. The key instrument, the key lens that we look to attract, recruit, and interview candidates is that profile. That's extremely important.
Thank you.
Don't you, in your experience with that, find that there's a lot of misinformation that's in the community about what makes up a school corporation and the workings of a school corporation, as well as the administrative, as well as the teachers themselves, that are, I don't know, based on a lot of misinformation, and that will come out in the public forums that feed even more misinformation? Has that been your experience at all?
That happened, that certainly happens from time to time. Once I have met with all the groups the board has asked me to meet with, and I will make some suggestions, but again, these are board decisions. What we would do is either get the full slate, we have the survey responses. I don't know what happened there, I apologize, there's something in front of my screen. At any rate, oh, thank you. So, once we have those responses, what I'll do is bring us the draft profile to the board that we would talk about perhaps in closed session, and we can kind of tally off some of the things that perhaps divide themselves from misinformation on behalf of whomever I met with. So we want to get this right. We don't want misinformation to be part of the process.
No, because we've had a lot of that here.
I'm good at managing that, trust me. 2 years ago, during the middle of COVID, I did a search in Princeton, New Jersey, and there was a lot of strife in Princeton, and a lot of angst, and a lot of mistrust from the community members at large, especially the Princeton professors who was sitting on the board. They got exactly who they needed to be their superintendent. The profile was spot on.
Good.
Dr. O'Mara, Stacy Hillian, I think this segues into my next comment / question. You know, our community is always speaking of transparency, and since they don't have this presentation in front of them about the costs, $21,500, $7,500 for expenses. Can I just ask, advertising TBD, like what, in your, I guess, average, what is the average cost of a search that you would help us do? Do you have those numbers, or?
You know, there's really a wide range, and it's typically based on the size of the community in which I work. The one I just finished last spring in Rockwood, Missouri, was 175 square miles and 27,000 students. That quote, I think, was $32,500. I know you're smaller than that, but what we do is we try to scale in terms of the size of the student enrollment typically. The expenses that I put there won't exceed $7,500. Every time I need to come to the district, I would drive down from Chicago and drive right back, unless I needed to stay overnight, if it was a late night meeting or whatever. You would have itemized expenses at the end of the search, so you can justify every single penny that you did. And I know $21,500 is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, I know it is. But I will also say that this is the most important decision a school board makes.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Any other questions?
With the
I
advertising, I'm
will
sorry.
also say that 80% of the clients that we have now are repeat customers. They know we do good work and the value is there.
And I'm assuming if we do a national search, that advertising price would be up, it's not a set price if it's local or national, or does that change?
Well, that's a good question. We were talking about planning meeting, I would give you kind of a gamut of choices and associated costs. There are a wide variety of opportunities, including Ed Week, which is the National Education Weekly. The AASA, we've got a partnership with there to get you a discounted rate if we did it that way. There's LinkedIn, there's Indeed, there are some social media kinds of endeavors that you may want to consider. I would recommend them, but you may want to consider. But I'll give you several choices. So yes, there's a variety of avenues, a variety of costs associated with those avenues.
Other questions or comments, Dr. Amaro? Okay, well, we have your contact information, and obviously if we need to, we will follow up and ask any other questions we have, but we greatly appreciate your time this evening, and look forward to discussing this amongst ourselves. We will be in touch.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and if you need any information from me, just please reach out whenever you like, and I'd love to be partners with you on this important endeavor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your evening.
Good night.
Thanks.
Okay, well, I think we had some good conversation there. Nice to rip the Band-Aid off of the cost of one of these national search organizations. It is a hefty price tag, and I was wondering, I know this week I reached out to Mrs. Wilson about where the money comes from, how we pay for this. Dr. Falco?
Yeah, so I reached out to Mrs. Wilson, also our CFO, and she said there's a line item in human resources for consulting fees, and that fee could be paid from that line item.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussions this evening?
We have two search engines, as I call them, search teams, that are no charge, am I right?
I think ISBA has a charge. Ms. Helene, do you have?
I haven't had that discussion with them at this time.
I think it's pretty manageable though. I mean,
Yes.
it's more like under 5,000
Yes.
as opposed to.
I can reach out and get
Not
that
sure.
and send that to the board.
Yeah, they do have a charge. I remember them bringing that up at a meeting sometime. I just cannot remember the dollar amount that goes with it.
Yeah, and I don't want to say and it be incorrect. But, and then the
Well-
university team was just their mileage, that we'd already received that presentation on.
We are cost conscious.
Yep.
And
Yes,
it was,
definitely.
it was reiterated in the fantastic news and notes from Dr. Balatevich, and I think we need to keep that in mind.
Indeed. Okay, well, no,
Yeah, going back to just some comments of who we look for, I guess, what I look for in a superintendent is a community person, proven leadership, team builder.
Vision, with some vision.
Vision too, and so that's my comments, what I'd like to see as we look at individuals.
I'm hoping our candidates come to the table with understanding what we are facing. You know, we have facilities issues. We have a community, building back that relationship, but like Rick had said, community minded. We need that leadership here.
And student loss.
Yes. I was just listening to the news and just the nationwide shortage of our students leaving or not coming, or also families choosing not to have children.
Right.
I think that we're gonna continue to see that decline.
Don't sell ourselves short, we're a great school corporation. You heard me say the last board meeting, we gotta say thank you to a lot of our leadership now. And we don't do that enough, folks. I'm preaching to the choir here. We're all in this job to make this a better school, a better community, and that's why I asked to buy in for the community. They've gotta trust us and help us, on comments.
As I said earlier, I mean, academically, we are so
Yeah,
strong, and
we are.
curricularly, that's a word.
It is.
You know, we are active and involved in so many good things, and it's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up with all the good things. I mean, as I said, we have spotlights when the kids come, but, we gloss over, I mean, we aren't aware of some, because there are so many on all different levels, the elementary and the middle schools and the high schools, and they just, do competitions all around the state, and, I mean, they just do so well. And it's exciting, and you're right, Rick, we don't blow our own horn often enough.
It shouldn't just be us, it's the community I'm challenging every day now.
Yeah.
They vote me in a position, they're gonna hear that from me every meeting, every day.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And there are a lot that do, but sometimes the louder voices are the ones that like to complain the most.
It's okay,
Yeah.
it's okay.
We just we've gotta have those positive voices,
Yeah, we do.
send supportive voices.
I think it goes along with, I think we tried to say it, if there's something going on with your student or your school and you want them spotlighted, please let us know. Like you said, things get missed because there's so many great things happening. And I do know our Facebook page, our social media, individual schools, social media is down to just the teams. They try their hardest to share, and it's not on purpose that things are missed. But please let us know. I love having the kids here. I love being reminded every day when we're in this seat, and it's to serve them. And I know
Well,
every person here wants that.
That's our whole purpose, are the kids, not the adults in the community, frankly. It is the kids, what is best for the kids. That is the only reason. That's the only reason we're here. That's the only reason we're here.
I think this has been wonderful. It's been good to hear just a little bit of a relaxed conversation amongst us, and especially want to thank you, Jackie, for sharing your background and being able to hear what your experience was last time. That's very helpful.
Thank you. Well, I share.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty outspoken.
That's good. That's what I love. Yes.
I'm emotion, and I'm horribly proud of the corporation and the schools and the kids. And
Yeah.
so it's been my life as a teacher and on the board.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think we all have a big heart to see success and long-term
Yeah.
stable success. So at this point, we're right at an hour for our meeting, and I think that is a lovely time to conclude. I would love to entertain a motion for adjournment.
I so move.
All right,
Second.
all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, that was good.
Well,
Amy, are you-
sincerely meant.